Good evening, Ponto de Luz. So good to be here. It's our moment on Thursdays to study the Spirit's book. And tonight we're going to talk about question 131, which is huge. This is going to be it for today, for tonight. Um, and we may not even finish it. We'll see. It takes 2 pages and it has a lot of the explanation on the answer. So we're going to study that. It's a very very good question to study. So we're privileged tonight. We're going to have that opportunity. Before we do so, let's start with our prayer. Thanking God and the good spirits who brought us together tonight, blessing us with good health, blessing us with the ability of having a roof over our heads. We were able to eat today. We are so blessed. So we take the opportunity to always pray for the ones that are still in need of all that. May the light that we can bring to the world tonight be also shared with our brothers and sisters that do not have it. A roof, a bed, food. We ask you, Lord, to protect and take care of all humanity. And with your permission, we start the study of the Spirit's book. So be it. In times like the one we live, right? It's so important to understand that we have to do our part. Charity, goodness. Charity is not just giving alms, as the gospel teaches us. Charity is a comforting word. Charity is praying for somebody. And when we pray together, we bring light. So we're going to start with question 131 of the Spirit's book. And we're still on the subtitle Angels and Demons that we started last week. And didn't this week go by like this? It feels that we were having this conversation a day ago, but it has been a week. So we're glad to be here. We're glad to be alive and breathing and well. So let's study. Question 131. Are there any demons in the usual sense of the word? So on this subtitle, Angels and Demons, we studied the concept of demons and angels. And now question 131 has it broken down. It breaks down the explanation in such a good way. And I even use chapter 23 of the Gospel, Strange Moral, to understand part of it, because we're going to get there, but because some people understand the concept of demons as a real being, not an allegory or something that is perpetually like that on the state of evil. And the Spirit's book eliminates that idea or clarifies or brings light to this and helps us understand that, like in the chapter 23 of the Gospel, Strange Moral, the teachings of Christ have to be understood in the correct sense of it. And some words that you find in the Gospel, they have to be taken as an allegory, like not in the real meaning of the word. We're going to get there. You're going to love it because this question has so much to it. The answer that the spirits gave Kardec to the question, are there any demons in the usual sense of the word? The spirits answered, if there were demons, they would nevertheless be the work of God. If they existed, they would have to be the work of God, right? So this is a lot for us to digest tonight. There's a lot of thinking and reason, and we're gonna see that. But would God be just and good by creating unfortunate beings that are eternally turned towards evil? Do you see that? So, if we understand that there are beings that are destined to be eternally tuned or turned, I'm sorry, eternally turned towards evil, we can't understand. They don't belong in the same understanding of a God that is supremely just and good. Because the God that is supremely just and good, which is one of the attributes of God, and if we remove that attribute, then there is no God as we see it. So that is part of the concept of the understanding of God that is supremely just and good. A God that is supremely just and good could not have created beings that are fated to be in evil for good, for all their existence. We study that here. We have been created simple and ignorant, and we move under the laws of progress, faster or slower, according to our intention, our determination, our choices, free will. So when the spirits answer this, they say, but would God be just and good by creating unfortunate beings that are eternally turned towards evil? If there are demons, and this is very, very sharp. If there are demons, they reside on your less evolved world and on other similar ones. They are the hypocritical men and women who portray a just God as an evil and vindictive one. So the spirits tell Kardec that if there are demons, they are the hypocritical men and women that lead us to believe that God would have created demons that portray a just God as an evil and vindictive one. As we understood, and as it was understood in the time that St. Francis was born, right? The medieval ages. God was a God that was vindictive, would punish you, and you would be afraid of God instead of loving God, instead of seeing God as part of everything that is, instead of seeing God as blessings in your life, instead of seeing God as a father that created us to succeed, to be in health, to prosper. This shift in the way we see God is really important, and the Spiritism, as a doctrine, understands God as supremely just and good. So if we understand in accordance to reason and logic and science, we understand God as supremely just and good, God could not have created beings that would be eternally evil. That would not be the work of God. Continuing, they are those who imagine that they please God by the abominable behaviors they commit in the divine name. So those are the true demons, the ones that imagine that they please God with abominable behaviors they commit using God's name. And that's the end of the answer. But I told you it was a long one. So on the Spirit's book, when we have a question, we have an answer, and then we have the tiny, teeny letters that explains. And on this one particularly, it takes 2 pages and has that explanation that I told you about, how we should understand the words of Jesus, which is a whole chapter on the gospel. We're gonna go talk about that. So the explanation to the answer. Only in its modern meaning does the word demon imply the idea of evil spirits, because the Greek word daemon, so the root of demon is daemon from the Greek, which did not mean evil, but genius, but intelligence, means genius or intelligence, and applies to all good or evil incorporeal beings without distinction. So the root of the word itself does not mean evil. It means genius, intelligence, an intelligence that is incorporeal. That's daemon from the Greek. From that to our understanding of demon as we see as the figure with the horns and that representation of evil, there is a long, long way to that. We're going to see it here. According to the common meaning of the word, demons are essentially malevolent entities, as we understand in the common sense. But like everything else, they would have to be one of God's creations. If we understand that God created everything, then if we believe in demons, as we understand in this sense here, of some being destined to do evil forever, then it would have to be created by God. So listen to this. God, who is supremely just and good, could not have created beings predisposed to evil by their very nature and condemned for eternity. That makes us review our concept in so many things, because let's bring it to life, right? I try to, when I read something, I pause. That person that does something, and we were just talking about this like minutes ago, Gustavo and I and his wife, we were just talking about this. If somebody does something that is really, really evil, that doesn't mean that that person, number one, would be on that level for good, which is not, because we're always gonna march towards progress. And even when they are in that situation of evil, practicing evil, thinking, speaking, acting, we can still find something deep, deep inside that we can take as the spark of goodness within anyone. Oh, but he's a criminal, but he did this. Yes, to somebody he did something good. This total evil is a concept that we create. So let's be generous. Let's do let's put something into practice this coming week, right? The week between this Thursday and next Thursday. Let's try to see the goodness in people and things that we see or that we perceive as evil. It's easier to find it in situations, right? Experiences. Something that's not pleasant happens to us. We get upset. We complain a little bit sometimes, but we shouldn't, because we still have the ability to understand that further down the road, you will see that that happened for a reason, right? So with the situations, I think we're more flexible. But when it comes to people, oh, that person did that to me. Oh, that person didn't do that to me. That person behaved like that. That was so offensive. That was so mean. Are there demons? Is that a permanent state of that individual? No. If we believe in God, we believe in the goodness in others, even when they are temporarily doing evil things. Wow. If that is not an aha moment, right? Like Oprah says, an aha moment. If we can see God, if we can understand the existence of God as supremely just and good, even the people that are the most difficult and evil, because we're all created by this God, they're not going to be there forever. Even if we don't have the knowledge of the law of progress, even if we don't believe that somebody that's killing today could one day become an angel, many, many lives ahead, or not so many, like Paul, killed in the same life, same existence that he killed and persecuted Jesus. He was the one that spread the words of the gospel and Christianity in more places that one man could reach. So, doesn't it give us a sense of freedom, even to look at people that do not behave according to our expectations and to our concepts of goodness? Because we've been there. We've been the ones that we now call demons. We've dealt in many ways with things that, if we didn't have the blessing of forgetting, when we get to a new body, in this personality, Teresa, I forgot what I have done a few lives ago when I was doing much worse than I'm doing today, for sure. I can guarantee that today I am doing my best way, because if I believe in the law of progress, I am better today than I was yesterday. Isn't that comforting? We had to pause for this because I think that this is just like amazing. God, who is supremely just and good, could not have created beings predisposed to evil by their very nature and condemned for eternity. On the other hand, if they were not one of God's works, they would be eternal like God, in which case there would be many sovereign powers. So, if we understand that evil is as powerful as God, then we understand that there are many gods, the God of evil and the God. And we cannot admit that. It's one God. And evil will never be in the same level of sovereignty, as the Spirit's book says, as God. So when you ask me, is that gonna be okay? Is the light gonna win darkness? Absolutely. Because if we believe in God, There is no other way to see it. Anything that's happening, we need to go through it. People that are so difficult, and sometimes we can only see the evil on them, transitory. They're going to be better. We got to bless them. We got to pray for them. We got to wish them well. Instead of cursing, wish them well. It's so hard, but when I catch myself with somebody that is not the way I expect, I say, he must be in a bad day. I pray that you have a better day tomorrow, or a better time later. This is key to our happiness, because then we put God first and above, and the only sovereign of life is God, right? So this is beautiful. The first condition for every doctrine is that it be logical. Therefore, in its absolute meaning, the doctrine of demons lacks this essential point, contradicts the existence of one God, supremely just and good, one God. In the beliefs of less evolved cultures that do not understand the attributes of God, we spoke about the attributes of God, it is conceivable that alongside their evil deities, they also admit the existence of demons. Nevertheless, for those who accept the goodness of God as an attribute per excellence, so if we accept God and the goodness of God as an attribute per excellence, it would negate the divine goodness and be illogical and contradictory to suppose that he would have created beings dedicated to evil and destined to indulge in it forever. Amazing. Proponents of demons, and this is the part that I told you about, chapter 23 of the Gospel. Proponents of demons find support in the words of Christ, and we will certainly not contest the authority of his teachings. We're not saying that what Christ said was not the truth, but it needs to be interpreted according to the time that Jesus lived and according to the meaning, the right meaning of his words. So if Christ used the words demons, and because of that, some people say there are demons. Christ taught about demons. He spoke about demons. This is the explanation of the Spirit's book to it. This is where you're going to find it. Proponents of demons find support in the words of Christ, and we will certainly not contest the authority of his teachings, which we would like to see more in individuals' hearts than on their lips. Instead of talking about Christ, be like him. But can they be certain of the meaning he attributed to the word demon? Don't we know that the allegorical form is one of the characteristics of his languages? Allegories. He spoke on parables. Jesus chose the way he spoke to the ability of the people of his time to understand, and most of it, so it could last. So now we could understand. If it was something that was just applied to that period of time and would not have the context of lasting, it was not said the way it was. So did Jesus use the word demons? Absolutely he did. But should everything contained in the Gospels be taken literally? We need no further proof beyond this passage. So we're going to stop here because the next two paragraphs talk about this, how Jesus used to speak in parables, how Jesus used a metaphor. So this is incorrect if we defend the existence of demons, because, oh well, Jesus used the word demons, so the demons exist. It's not quite like that. You want to know the explanation? Next week. We're going to save it because this is a lot to grasp. Today, if we can grasp the fact that if we believe in a God that is supremely just and good, the one God, nothing above it, then we can't understand the idea, or we can't agree with the idea. It's illogical with the idea that that same God has created beings that would be eternally doing, doing evil. And then, can we agree with the existence of demons? No. They're just impure spirits. And that state is transitory. Can we understand that? We grasp the first part of the question. But the question is complete with so much information. And we're going to save it for next week, because to understand the second part, which explains how Jesus decided to use the word demons, yes, but there was a reason for it. What was the reason for it? We're going to study it next Thursday. Okay, so don't miss that one. We're going to now finish with our prayer, because as important as understanding things, and understanding the doctrine and its principles, and the Spirit's book, which is the most beautiful book ever, uh, we need to save also a moment to connect with God and to use that time and that space to pray together, not only for us, but for others. So let's do it. Dear God, we thank you so much for bringing us together tonight to understand and feel the energies of love, the enlightenment, the comfort to our hearts, just knowing that you are supremely just and good. And nothing can change that. We ask you to protect every single home reunited in prayer this evening, and to the ones that are going to watch this later. Be blessed, be protected, be in peace. And all our brothers and sisters in every corner of this planet may receive the light of our love and the light of God. May we have a restful evening. Thank you, God. We thank you for this moment. So be it. And we'll see you next week. And we're going to completely understand some things that you could read, chapter 23 on the gospel, and it complements this question of the Spirit's book. We'll see you next week. Have a blessed evening, and thank you for joining us.